What about now? What about now? Hello, Victor. Or Victoria. Okay. Better? Alrighty. Hello, Commander. Or no, Hell Commander. Alright. Hell Commander. Hello, Hell Commander. What a name you've got there. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Every single time you hit that like button, there's a chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who can engage in the chat. We're trying to have a conversation over here, but the easiest and only way that happens is if you guys help the stream get more people, a little bit more attention by contributing your likes and engagement. Oh, that's going to be way too much material. Well, the line has been drawn, the curse has been cast. Yeah, see what I mean? See what I mean? What have I done? Alrighty. How has your day been? It's been awesome. Thank you for the little gift. That's kind of you. Did you read about that Minnesota coach? Fuck. No, I was so drunk that I fucking forgot you last night. And then this morning, I just didn't think about it because I didn't remember necessarily, a whole lot about what I covered last night. So I haven't read up on it, no. I have heard some content creators that I trust saying that like it's not all it's cracked up to be, but I haven't read up on it personally myself. So all I can really say on it right now with what little I know, all I can really say right now is like I hope that whoever is that if there is fraud going on, I hope the people responsible are brought to justice. And if there's not fraud going on, then I hope the people responsible for creating a false alarm are brought to justice. What are your pronouns, if I may ask? She, her, hers. Thank you for asking. We are Charlie. We AIF Charlie Kirk. Oh my god, that is so fucking hilarious. Somebody tried to be like, we is Charlie Kirk, but they couldn't even they said we AIF. We AIF. AIF Charlie Kirk. We AIF'd him. By the way, if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, the regular chat is really not your best bet. You should send a super chat or a Cash App donation. You can find that in my channel description. Either way, you will get your message read, and you can become part of the discourse. Otherwise, it's just the luck of the draw, depending on what message I read in chat. They ate CK. Yeah, they ate Charlie Kirk. They ate him. They consumed him. They I wonder how they cooked him. Do you think they flambéed him or flame broiled him? You have to wonder. Are you a man? No. Charlie Kirk? What about him? Here's my thoughts on Charlie Kirk, and I've said this so many fucking times around this exact fire. I think Charlie Kirk was a backwards, bigoted person that nevertheless did not deserve to be shot dead like a dog on the street. I feel like that was probably not a good look for whatever group may have been involved in it, if there indeed was some kind of political machination behind it. I don't think that I think targeted assassinations of prominent political figures in developed countries is probably not usually a good political strategy for a movement. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that, but it doesn't strike me as something that's altogether too useful. For the project of getting your policies established, because it just seems like, in my experience, like, not in my experience, but from like the history reading that I've done, it seems like it just has like the opposite effect to whatever you're trying to do. Like James Earl Ray assassinated Martin Luther King Jr., thinking he would silence the Black liberation movement and the civil rights movement as a whole, and in fact he ended up being the catalyst that President Johnson needed to pass the Fair Housing Act. So, like, I don't know why people keep doing them, thinking that they're good. Like, this is going to be the one that works, guys. This is going to be the time it really fucking works. Not to say we even know for a fact who did it in term. Well, I mean, we know who did it, but we don't know necessarily who. Well, I mean, we pretty much know who did it. We don't really know shit yet until the fucking court case gets, processed through and everything. But insofar as we know anything, we don't know exactly what political affiliation the assassin behind Charlie Kirk's killing had, if any. It may be the case that despite his seeming leftist leanings, he might be some kind of Groyper type that is like, Nazi in a bunch of ways, but not anti-queer. There's a lot of fucking possibilities that could arise. He could be a more or less apolitical person that just doesn't like anti-queer hatred. The only thing we know about Tyler Robinson is that he may have been motivated by a disagreement with Charlie Kirk's ideology as it pertained queer people. And even then, that's if you fucking believe the FBI and all the narratives surrounding this shit, Twin, I sent some gifts. Thank you, David. Thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, is a chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your big push by increasing the number of people engaged in the chat. So please do so now if you haven't done so already. I do appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody. Yes, 100%. Also, make sure you send a super chat if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered. I do read every single one as long as it doesn't violate TOS. I sent you a heart. Thank you, Pink Fur. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I thought you were an old lady until you started talking. No, I'm a young lady. I just kind of dress like an old lady sometimes. It's more comfy. Old ladies got it figured out. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to tell you that old ladies got it figured out. You will never be a woman? Well, it's a good thing that random strangers on the internet don't get to determine that for me, and that, in fact, according to medical science, my identity as a transgender woman is, in fact, completely valid and rational. That's my response to that. Like, I don't know what else to say, Like, I'm not exactly looking for your affirmation. I don't believe anyone. Charlie Kirk is not dead. Wait, what? Okay, how? We all saw his neck get blown the fuck out on live TV. What do you mean he's not dead? That's like saying Kennedy fucking survived. How? What do you mean? What do you mean? Let's make the chat just a little bit more readable. Let's turn it to subs only participation mode, and let's set a 20-second slow mode. That'll be enough for people to still be able to communicate quickly, but low enough too to prevent spammers from being able to get too much of a foothold. Yay, there we go. Alrighty. That's a man. Well, thank you for the Canadian $2. What I always say is transphobe money spends just as well as anybody else's money, friend. Or another Phoebe classic. Well, that's a fucked up thing to say, but welcome to the chat. I'm not a man. And if you want to read more about transgender people, you can go to the Mayo Clinic and literally just type Mayo Clinic transgender, and you can read an extensive write-up on their website written by their doctors all about trans people, the struggles of gender dysphoria, the realities that trans people live through, etc., etc. Charlie Kirk wasn't a bad dude, even with his negative view of trans people. He loved all people, wanted them to get help. I mean, I don't think Charlie Kirk was a bad person, personally. He seemed like he was a loving father and a loving husband. He seemed like he was a good person to do business with because he couldn't help. But, like, everybody in the conservative on the conservative right, anybody that was mainstream in that movement wanted to work with Charlie Kirk. And that, if he was horrible at business or bad to his business partners or bad to the people he worked with, that wouldn't be the case. He wouldn't make it that far. You can't make it that far being a prick, is what I'm trying to tell you. What's your channel about? Having frank discussions about current events, social and political commentary, and a little bit of hillbilly hippie philosophy. I don't know, man. We're just vibing over here, you know? Kyle Kalinske even said he was a kind and understanding guy behind closed doors, but even if it was an act, hate mongering is still reprehensible. Well, that's why I always say, I think Charlie Kirk's assassination was a bad thing. I'm not glad that it happened, but I'm also not shedding any salty tears about it. He was not, he was a kind man personally, but a pretty reprehensible guy insofar as his rhetoric went. Insofar as his rhetoric was concerned, there was nothing sacred to Charlie Kirk when it came to, there was, but the things that were sacred to Charlie Kirk as far as his rhetoric was concerned were things that I just find so backwards and frankly hideous, like nation and religion and, I guess family is an okay one. We can agree on that one, Charlie. Family is a good thing, all right? Yes, rebuild the family. You know how you rebuild the family? A universal basic income, universal health care. By the way, make sure you send a super chat if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered. I do read every single one as long as it's in my LATOS. You can also donate through Cash App, which is on my channel description. Either way enables you to get your comment read. Otherwise, it's just luck of the draw. I read comments as I see them. Why did the guy that killed Charlie Kirk do his actions? We don't know that yet, dude. And don't let fucking demagogues be telling you that we do. Okay? We don't know that yet. We have not gotten to see what the defense is going to bring up. We have not gotten to see what the prosecution is going to bring up. This is an active and ongoing criminal case. This is not just... Dude, the sensationalist 24-hour news cycle has broken some people. And I'm writing a video about this right now. It's going to be a really long video. And part of me wants to wait because the problem's not going anywhere. Trust me. Part of me wants to wait a little bit until I get some better recording equipment to even make the fucking video because I really want it to I want it to be good and I want it to make numbers because it's essentially a video essay that is all about this shit. But just to go into like a side topic related to that thing, that project, and germane to the discussion here, the 24-hour news cycle has corrupted people's brains. on how they think about events like this. And so instead of realizing that this is a court case, that this is like a criminal case that has to be prosecuted, that we are a fucking civilized country that has processes to go through. We have habeas corpus, basically, if you're a citizen of this country, if you're a white citizen of this country, with your papers on you, we kind of have habeas corpus, right? We have like a basic semblance of a democracy here, and therefore we have a responsibility to Tyler Robinson and, frankly, to Charlie Kirk and his estate to make sure that the right person is brought to justice, to make sure that the case is correctly adjudicated and all this. And that's what it is, first and foremost. It's not some sensational news event, first and foremost. It's a fucking criminal case. We don't know shit about it until we know shit about it. And we don't know shit about it until they bring shit out in court, until we go through the process of discovery. Trust me, this is going to be a very public court case, okay? Once we fucking see, once there's more releases of that kind of information, once there's more court dates and everything, then we can fucking read up about it on stream if you guys want to. But for now, I don't know. And don't listen to anyone telling you that they do know. Happy 2026. I agree. Happy 2026, everybody. I can understand people disliking Charlie, but what I hate is when they say he deserved to die, and I just want to thank you for not believing that or spreading that. Yeah, I don't spread that at all. I don't think anyone deserves to die for doing what I do for a living. I'm not a hypocrite like that. Sorry. And no, I don't spread hate, right? That's one difference. I do think Charlie Kirk was spreading hate, but I don't think that entitled him to being killed, because he wasn't spreading calls to violence, as far as I know. He was saying some pretty hateful garbage, but you know what? So does my crazy uncle, and I don't want anybody to murk his ass either. He said some racist shit, but I don't remember Charlie Kirk ever saying, go destroy government institutions, bring them down with the force of violence. He was like a hard right conservative, like Christian white nationalist, yeah, but revolutionary? I think he was a damned far sight from a revolutionary. You can't be a revolutionary and be in bed with the halls of power, and he was fundamental to getting Trump elected in his second term. And that's kind of the threshold for me that you have to reach for me to be like, okay, I kind of condone your assassination. Like, that's why I don't shed any fucking... That's why I kind of think that, like, okay, I'm not glad about the system that made it happen, but I'm kind of glad that al-Zawahiri got, assassinated. Like, would it have been cooler and better for the narrative and everything if he'd been assassinated by his own people? Sure, but he wasn't. He was killed by a drone strike, and that sucks. The system that enables drone strikes to happen sucks, but it's also kind of a cool thing that he got killed, because al-Zawahiri was a fucking horrible... I can't remember. Ayman al-Zawahiri, I believe, was his name. Ayman al-Zawahiri was one of the... he was fucking a super fundamental part to the rise of Al-Qaeda and the empowerment of Osama bin Laden to actually do some of the things that he wanted to do. See, because Osama bin Laden was not an on-the-ground kind of guy. He was a funding source. People don't even know this shit. Let me give you guys a little bit of a history lesson about the whole, like, Afghanistan conflict and everything. Osama bin Laden was not even from Afghanistan. He's a fucking Saudi. And the bin Laden family... The Saudi bin Laden family is an incredibly fucking wealthy family. Osama bin Laden himself owned a construction business that he was very successful in for a number of years before he became... originally, actually, he became involved with the Mujahideen as a source of funding for them. And he actually came to the United States. He came to the United States helping to secure funding for the Mujahideen. And, he was... like responsible for helping to fund, like, that's basically how he started the group that we eventually named Al-Qaeda. It was not some close-knit organized group, really, as far as we know now, but the group that we eventually would come to call Al Qaeda, the loosely affiliated group of individuals that we would eventually name Al Qaeda, was formed by Osama bin Laden being befriended by a number of Islamic jihadist terrorist types. And I'm not just using buzzword there. Those are all accurate descriptors of the people that were involved in bin Laden's ability to enact terror. The main characters that factor in his ability to commit the bombings in the Tunisian embassy, I believe it was the Tunisian embassy, and the 9/11 terror attacks. His ability to finance those was primarily orchestrated, and his ability to engage in other terrorist acts too was mainly orchestrated by on-the-ground organizer types, two of which were most prominent in his story. Their names were Ayman Zawahiri and Abdullah Azam. Both of them were basically rival, competing leader figures in the group Islamic Jihad, and eventually one of them came to prominence. But I believe it was I believe it was Zawahiri who took over after Abdullah Azam was murdered. Also, look at all these people saying horrible things. Why not you criticizing them and tell them what they are doing is wrong? Let me see. It's sad when people spread hate and bigotry on people who aren't hurting anyone, then mask it as proselytizing and spreading the word. Oh, yeah, that shit is horrible. But it's rampant in today's society, I'll tell you that much. That sort of self-important religious bigotry is all over the place now. All over the fucking place. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Every single time you hit that like button, is a chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing push back. So people can engage in the chat. Why did you choose to be trans? Because living as a boy made me sick. Literally, physically ill. It made me fucking hate myself. And living as a woman has made me happy. At least happy more often than I'm not, you know? Like, I've still got mental issues that make me go from high to low and everything, but my highs are higher and my lows are not nearly as low as they used to be because I'm now living authentically. And I think that that's a sign that I'm living correctly, if anything is. Are you religious at all? No. I ever since I was 14, I really haven't found much use for any religion. Well, I guess more like since I was 18. I went through some brief stints with some other religious identities, but at this point, I would say that the closest thing I am to religious is I'm kind of a nature worshiper, but I don't really know if I worship nature. I kind of think I do, though, because there's certainly nothing that I look at with as much wonder as I do the natural world and the beauties. The things that I've seen on road trips, the things that I've seen on hikes and shit like that have entranced me more than the most beautiful men and women I've ever seen in my life. The only thing that's maybe entranced me more is my own kid, it's just, and I don't know if that qualifies as worship. If it does that mean I worship my son? I certainly don't think so. I don't know. So, I think that I do think that the natural world is certainly a higher power than human beings. We are subject to physics. Physics is not subject to us, That's a higher power right there. I just don't think it has a personality. I don't think physics bends to our will because we choose to like it, which is what Christians think when they go around thinking that God, not only that God exists, but that God listens to what we have to say. You know what I mean? You're saying that that not only do physics have a personality, but that personality responds positively to people worshiping it and will bend the laws of physics that it has laid out in their favor if asked kindly enough. And I don't believe that whatsoever. I do believe that human beings and our force of will can have some effect in affecting outcomes, but I think that's a different discussion than some like personable deity that has to be convinced through pretty language to support your cause, which is essentially what God is supposed to be, right? We love you. Aw, thank you. Thank you, Emery. Send a super chat if you want to make sure your question or comment gets read or answered. I do read every single one as long as it doesn't violate TOS. This is an audience-supported channel, and I appreciate you guys' donations and likes. Jesus is no freak. He is the king. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Well, I don't believe in God, but I'm also not an atheist. Because the universe is chaos, but chaos plays favorites. And you know, lately I've been thinking about how I love Jesus. Because Jesus, he was a dirty homeless hippie peace activist. And he said, drop out and find God to anybody who would listen. Oh, shit. 30 minutes from now, 30 minutes. Dude, someone literally commented, go outside, bruh, on a video. Probably someone got banned out of the chat. And I'm literally outside right now. I'm literally presently outside. Like, literally, when they send that message, I'm outside. It's just funny. People and their presumptiveness, dude. People and their fucking presumptiveness. A stranger saying they love me would be weird. Well, you're probably not as much of an attention whore as I am, Matt. Thank you, Mercury Hunter. I just want you to know, Phoebe, your relationship with Christ is your relationship only. People will spread false things and twist the Bible. Well, thanks, Mr. Reaper. I'm not a Christian, but I do respect the message of Christ. Well, I'll catch you in a second. You know, this looks like so much fire, but it's really not that much fire. See, once it fucking gets going good, then it'll fucking... Like, if it'll ever goddamn catch. No, I love my friends and family. I just don't care about some made up person named Jesus. Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, Matt does not have a heart of stone. Don't say that. By the way, in about 27 minutes, I'm going to be there's going to be a video of mine that's premiering, and you guys should totally fucking watch it. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be good. Um, do that. Make sure you go over there and set your notification bell for it and all that. I don't know. I'll probably end the stream for like 20 minutes, and then maybe I'll do in like another hour or something. But I'm going to give you guys time to watch that video because, it's a video I edited and everything, which I didn't have the money to get the like watermark taken off version of the app. But, I think it still turned out okay. And, I don't know. I feel like it's not much, but I feel like I'm okay with it, you know? And that's good because that's progress for me. Coming from a person that's like just now getting to the point where I'm like okay with my live performance, it's like nice to get to the point where I'm okay with like 10 or 11-minute videos, getting through with those and the editing process. I'm like, all right, this is a product I'm satisfied with on some level. We subscribed only to chat to spread about Jesus. Yes, some of you did, but not all of you, as evidenced by the fact that I've got 53 likes. Yeah. I'm upset that this comment section is blasting hate towards this person instead of praying for them. Oh my God, Mr. Reaper. Nobody needs to pray for me. I'm okay. Trust me, my eternal soul will be all right. If there is a hell, then, I'll be there with great company. And if there is no hell, that's almost worse, honestly. Man, if that was a car going down the road, did you guys hear that shit? Because that sounded more like something moving through the air to me. Did you guys hear that shit? Okay, fuck this. I'm just gonna get another bag out of here. And finish this damn box is taking forever to burn with one of these things. It'll fucking hopefully burn in a couple minutes. Yay, we've got fire again. We've got light. Hell yeah. Yay. This is awesome. Okay, now I've got a way to roast the fuck out of this box. And that'll give us the ability to, so like, here's the logic behind this whole stream, by the way, is like, I really wanted to do a campfire stream, but I also had a bunch of boxes that I needed to burn, And because we live out in the country, we can't just, like, we don't have like a bulk trash pickup day or whatever. And because we live in the country, it kind of makes more sense for us to save on the amount of trash that we're just putting out there to be recycled or put in a landfill or whatever happens to it by just kind of like burning it you know, because we live in a county where there's no burn restrictions or anything, and boxes and like cardboard, you can burn cardboard. Take the styrofoam out of it and shit, obviously, but you can burn cardboard. So I figured that would be a good, and feed bags too. We've got a bunch of paper feed bags that I need to burn. So I figured this would be a good way to combine all these activities, We as Christians don't fool Christ because, okay, I'm sick of the Christ topic. Can we talk about something else? Like every time I look at the chat, it's just like Christ, 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 Christ. I don't give a shit about your fucking Jesus daddy, okay? I'm sorry. I don't. I give a fuck. I'm sorry. I'm sick of the proselytizing. I was raised in a Christian church and I chose to not be involved in it. And, I haven't exactly made a whole lot of hay out of these comments. So, like, you think you would get the hint after a minute. Because you haven't, now I have to be direct with you. And I have to tell you directly and honestly, I have nothing to say about this topic that you're going to like. I don't believe in the factual accuracy of your position. And I don't believe in it's being preferable as a fantasy. I don't think it is actually a good thing to believe. Like, I don't think, like, it's not an enticing fucking belief to me. Sorry, it's just not. Yeah, it's literally like, am I being rated by some Christian channel or something? Like, dude, what the hell is with it? What is it the Bible says about someone who will not receive you? If someone does not receive you with grace and humility or whatever, then you wipe the dust from your feet and walk on. Walk on, man. I don't have anything to say about this topic that you're gonna like. If you want to talk about like you're not gonna fucking convince me of the veracity of Christ. But if you want to try going down that road, like, we can debate creationism or whatever. But like the whole like you're sinning and you need to turn to Christ shit, like that shtick is not ineffective here. Completely ineffective. I was raised in a church that profoundly judges people for that kind of shit. I was raised adjacent to that kind of religion, and like, I don't know, if it didn't convince me back then when it was literally being ingrained in my head as a child, what makes you think it's gonna fucking click now? Gotta move away a little bit. That thing's burning hot as a motherfucker. Lee. Hot. It's like uncomfortably hot. Jesus. Alrighty. Speaking of the devil, right? Nice fire. Thank you. Yeah, it's going. Are you isolated? Isolated? What do you mean isolated? You mean like socially isolated? No. Yeah, not a lot of walking on. Yeah, there's a whole lot of spreading the word, not a whole lot of walking on. I'm noticing that trend as well, Matt. I'm noticing that trend as well. Yeah, do you have anybody to talk to in person? Yeah. Yeah, I got people I talk to in person. I think most people do, as long as I got some semblance of a fucking, like, it would be really weird if I was able to do this with you guys, but I wasn't able to make a fucking friend, That would be really strange. Nice fire, brother. Nice fire, sister. And it is a nice fire. You are 100% right about that. Like the stream, 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 please like the stream. Because you've been watching for 43 minutes. Hey gal, what's up, Light Blue? Light Blue Bick? Ooh, I like that name. I love that name a lot. Phoebe, if the 0.1% destroyed the Earth and got on spaceships to escape the planet, would you let them go in hopes humanity would continue? Or would you destroy the ships if given the chance? Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I'm really gonna have to like legitimately think about that for a second. All right, what? Let me just weigh the benefits, like the pros and cons, right? So if you destroy the ships, you are making it so that a bunch of their capital just got wasted, utterly wasted. But honestly, like they're gonna have such unlimited resources that that someone like that might have to do it multiple times over in order to actually get the message across that we're not just going to let them flee the planet. And in order for them to lose enough value in the process of rebuilding for it to be worth it, for them to stop trying. That's one thing I fear about this idea. But, I think that letting them go also is like, well, if you let them go, even if they like establish life on another planet, they manage to terraform Mars or something like that, establish some space colony, go to the moon, whatever they do, at least they're out of our hair. And depending on the state that humanity's in, like we might be better off for it. I guess it ultimately depends on whether or not they continue to maintain a business relationship with Earth. In that unlikely scenario that the 0.1%, the billionaire, the owner class, right, chooses to go to space or whatever, I think whether or not we remain beholden to them is ultimately a matter of whether or not they retain a business relationship with the planet Earth. If they retain a business relationship with the planet Earth, then we're not gaining anything. In fact, we're losing our ability to directly threaten the bourgeoisie with any kind of real meaningful force of change. Like we at this point right now, like as long as they're on Earth, as long as they live in the countries that we live in, there's always that implicit like you need to keep us some baseline level of happy, otherwise we rise up and heads roll and all that shit, right? Not saying it's a good thing, I'm just saying that's how it happens, right? And that's just how it is. So I think ultimately destroying the ships would probably be the true like left-pilled anarchist thing to do on some level. What's up, Autumn? What's up, everybody? I've never seen this channel before, but it got recommended to me and looks interesting, so I figured I'd drop in and say hi. Well, thanks, Sparkling Development Studio. Yeah, it's we do like political and social commentary here. We talk about basically in these chats, or I'm sorry, in these live streams, we basically talk about whatever the chat wants to talk about. We try to make it kind of like like a little smoking circle or a little sleepover, hangout, whatever you want to call it. It's a chill place to vibe. But I also make video essays and stuff like that. And or I'm starting to branch out into that content at least. Made a few videos about different topics over the years, and this year I'm going to be putting out a lot more of that kind of like long form, non-live, like pre-recorded content. So if all that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and this little notification bell as well. And hit this like button so we get the stream out to even more people. And excuse me for 1 second while I blow my nose. Oh shit. To fix capitalism, it would no longer be capitalism, so no. What's going on? Do you think capitalism can be fixed? No. Um, Ultimately, fixing capitalism would be evolving past capitalism, I think. Evolving some kind of new system. I think on the ground, I think capitalism can be adapted to, but I don't think it can be fixed because the problems run too deep. The problem is not individual policies, really. The problem is the overall motivator of everything, right? Which is the profit motive in a capitalist system. That's the core problem, you know? And if you're not going to address that, then you're kidding yourself with any of the plans you might have for like long-term change, for making capitalism workable, because you can't ultimately make capitalism workable long term because it's going to prioritize the profit motive, and like you can't like capitalism demands more and more innovation. It demands more and more resource extraction. It demands a better and better deal be made for the billionaire class. So it's just like it's honestly a big part of the reason why people like Derek Jensen are able to make the argument that our culture has the death urge because of ideas like that. Because ultimately, that idea just leads to death. That idea leads to a planet that has been sapped dry of everything. So it's a completely unviable economic system, not because individual policies haven't been figured out to make it work for everyone and to make it work for the planet besides, but because the motive itself that drives everything within that economic system causes people to act out. It causes people to act out, whether it's on the corporate scale or the individual scale. Is this not a dude? No, I'm not a dude. I'm a woman with a deep voice. I'm sorry if that throws people off. I don't think capitalism is inherently bad. It's just the evil nature of human beings. No, it is not. Human beings don't have an evil nature. This is an idea that Christianity installed inside your head, sir. This is an idea that Christianity installed in you. It's not real. Human beings do not have a good or evil nature. We have, you know what's in our nature? There are a number of things that are in our nature. It is in our nature to be competitive. It's in our nature to be explorers. It's in our nature to cook our food. It's in our nature to, and that's a recent development, by the way. It wasn't always in our nature to cook our food, but it is now at this point. Even babies can recognize pots and pans and see that, like, one being used is tied to food happening. I know from personal experience, like not, maybe not like infants, but babies can certainly do that. So, it's like in our nature to cook our food. It's in our nature to be like comforted around fire. It's in our nature to be aroused by certain things. Like there's plenty of things that are in our nature, but a tendency towards good or evil is not in our nature because good and evil are man-made concepts. They're things that we made up to describe how we feel about certain egregious violations or really noteworthy, noble fulfillments of our moral code. Do you think humanity is greedy? No, I don't think humanity as a whole is greedy, but I do wonder if there isn't like a greedy gene, maybe. I seriously wonder that. I legitimately wonder that. I don't know if anybody's ever tested it or studied it, but I really do wonder if there's not maybe like some kind of greedy gene, you know? Because it seems like there are some people who have very little desire to just endlessly accumulate. Like there are some people that are not greedy at all. I've met some people who are okay with a very Spartan lifestyle. I'm honestly okay with a pretty Spartan lifestyle. I like to have some kitschy things, but I've got cheap tastes and shit, I've got cheap tastes. I would, even if I had lots of money, I would buy, there's some things I would buy nice, like, I'm not going to buy a cheap stand mixer. I'm going to buy a KitchenAid because, like, that thing's repairable. you know? There's like a dozen different manufacturers of parts for them. It's like stupid not to buy a KitchenAid if you're going to buy a stand mixer. If I'm going to buy a stove or a TV or something like that, I'm going to buy like a Samsung or something nice, you know? Like, there are certain things that it makes sense to buy the nice version with how shitty cheap things have gotten, because you end up spending more on going through the cheap shitty ones than you would if you just, you know, saved up a little longer and got the expensive one, or rented to own the expensive one, or whatever. You know, because, like, frankly, the expensive one's probably gonna fucking last longer with certain things like appliances and shit like that, you know. But as far as like decorations and shit, dude, I would have like movie posters and video game posters and like framed pictures that I took on my phone and shit that I had that I printed out myself on a printer that I bought from Walmart. You know, I don't know. I would not go crazy. I would not see myself going crazy. I'd buy some like queer flags from some uh uh like a queer pride organization or something. Like, I don't know. Hey girl, how's your day going? What's up, Melanie Miller? You got a fucking another pre-P. What's up? My day's going good. I'm having a little fire right now, burning through some feedbacks I need to get rid of. By the way, we are doing shitty on Super Chats, everybody. Just letting you guys know, not that I'm trying to beg you guys, but I kind of am. Seriously, if you want a Super Chat, though, consider doing so. I do read every single one, as long as it doesn't violate TOS, so it's a guaranteed way to add your voice to the discourse if you're interested in doing so. By the way, I wasn't directing that at you, Melanie. I was just saying to the general audience in general. I don't want you to feel like I'm calling you out, you know? Also, gang, I'm going to the thrift store tomorrow. What vinyl should I look for? Abbey Road. Look for Abbey Road. Let's see. Look for Abbey Road. Look for Dark Side of the Moon. Look for Souvlaki by Slowdive. You have very nice taste in music. Nice. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you want some contemporary musicians who sound good on vinyl, look for If I Should Go Before You by City and Color, or The Hurry and the Harm by City and Color, or like honestly, any of his first 4 albums as City and Color sound amazing on vinyl. Let's see. Gregory Alan Isakov, that Great Northern Hemisphere, sounds fucking dope on vinyl. I've heard it myself. Fuck, there's a Kimmy Dawson album that sounds really good on vinyl, and I can't remember which one it is. Oh my god, which one it is? Which one? Can't remember the name of it, so I'm a retard, but whatever. I will pay $20 for a copy of the Perry Como single Moonlit Love, Chin Chin Ricci. That is fucking, I'm never gonna remember that, friend. I do not have a mind for names. Remember to like the stream. Yes, please like the stream. It really helps. The YouTube loves it when you guys like the stream. My vinyl collection is all over the place, from my entire Led Zeppelin discography to the Survivor theme song. Nice. The Survivor theme song. That is dope. Survivor is a great show to watch if you're sick, by the way. Amazing show to watch if you're sick. Phoebe, when do we get a mix CD? Fuck if I know. Riley wants to get my ass on vinyl, but I think he lives in fucking Utah. Which means my ass is going to have to get a lot richer before I can afford to go visit Riley. But if me and Riley ever hang out, Riley is a mod, by the way, in here, and I met them at the New Jersey meetup. But if me and Riley ever actually manage to meet up in person and record, then I'm definitely going to release a mix CD. It won't even be a mixtape. I'm just going to release an album straight up. Oh, I'm gonna fucking self-produce it and everything. I'm not even fucking kidding. Like, I feel like I could write some music and make some shit now, you know? Like, honestly, getting to the point where I've got a decent viewership on these live streams has really reinvigorated my belief in myself in a lot of ways. And so I appreciate you guys that sit around and watch my ass, because, you know, you guys have made me realize that that I've got something like charm. And enough people have complimented me on my musical uh, doings and goings that I think I could probably stand a pretty good chance of making some pretty, some pretty quality music too. Maybe. Thanks, Light Blue Bick. You guys are sweet. Let's see. We got any uh, things? Motherfucking rickety ass cars down here in Mississippi, dude. Have you considered moving to Twitch or something to avoid bots and spammers? No, because I would have way more fucking things to look out for. Anyway, you guys go watch my other fucking video that's releasing right now. I'm gonna let you guys go for right now, so you can go watch that video. It's releasing on my channel right now. Please go watch it. Please go add to its numbers. Thank you so much. I will be right back after like 15 minutes to give you guys time to watch that video. So please watch it, and I will be right back.